angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth was stone or ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. It dawned on me sometime, I don't know if it was yesterday, last night, or if it was sometime today, but I never did play that PragerU video that I had talked about. And so I figured I would play that today, actually, during the monologue. I'm sure that PragerU would not mind, especially considering I'm not playing it and commenting on it in a bad manner whatsoever. It's important that people know the differences between, the different types of platforms out there, and it's also important that people understand what's going on, the lawsuit, and the implications either way. It's getting serious. There was a gentleman, and from my understanding of it, I don't know if it's something I'll be sharing out today or if it's something I shared out yesterday in the headlines. But there was a gentleman that was arrested, and from my understanding, the only thing that he did was post some memes, and he got red flagged. He got red flagged for posting memes. This is the very thing that I'd been warning about. They are doing everything they can. They are making a huge push right now to silence not just people that do alternative news like we do, but also the individual. They're doing everything. They're pulling out all the stops. So we had a guy, different subject, but we had a guy in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, walked into a Walmart, body armor. They claim he had body armor. He even says he had body armor. It looked to me like he just had a load-bearing vest, but I'm not a tactical guy. And had an AR-15, around 100 rounds of ammo, I guess. And he was charged under terrorism laws. And I'm sure you are aware of that case. And I agree he wins the award for dumbassery, but he broke no law, other than their made-up opinion. And then, shortly after that, and I reported on this as well, in Kansas City, Missouri, again, perfectly legal, 2 men walk into a Walmart with firearms, and they get arrested. Now, those 2 got released and not charged. But that's not the point. That's not the point. As I've said many, many times before on the show, it's not a right if you have to go to court to fight for it. It's not a right if you're in handcuffs and get locked in a cell and booked, even if the charges are never even brought against you. That is no longer a right. I can tell you what it is. Intimidation. Intimidation. They're trying to demonize the carrying of firearms so bad at a time when they should be pushing it. At a time that they should just absolutely be pushing it. They're doing everything they can to demonize it and get you to say, you know what, I'm going to just leave my firearm at home because I really don't want to go through all this. Everything will be okay. That's what they want. They are making a big push in multiple directions right now. I've been warning about that push for quite some time too. Didn't know when they were going to start doing it, but I was watching all these different areas and I was like, okay, wait a minute here. Because they weren't really getting anywhere with their tactics. Not as far as what they had hoped. You know, sure, they're demonetizing alternative media along with cat channels. I mean, everything they're demonetizing. And to be honest, I think a lot of that, what it boils down to, is I think they're trying to prevent lawsuits. So, like, if they demonetize and or stop promoting, say, conservative views, okay, on a YouTube channel. And folks, they're doing it to liberal views, and it's across the board, okay? I know you hear the conservatives crying that it's only them. You hear the liberals crying that it's only them. No, it's everybody. And, you know, what they are, I think, doing, my opinion, is that they're going and hitting these totally innocent channels and demonetizing some of their videos and, you know, unranking some of their content just to be able to say, oh, well, it's our algorithm. It's, you know, this problem is completely random. It wasn't targeted at, you know. And I think that's what they're going to use to get away with what they're doing. At least in the short term. But I've been watching all these different areas. Again, they haven't been making the progress that they wanted to. We're still getting the message out. We're still getting the message out. Look at the whole Epstein debacle. Nobody buys it. Nobody buys it. They're not able to get control yet. But they're trying. And I think they're going to make one hell of a push. And I think that's going to happen very, very, very soon. So just keep your eyes open for that. Keep your eyes open for tons of channels, even possibly ours, just to disappear. Just keep your eyes on it. Don't be surprised if it happens. I mean, the amount of pages that Facebook has been taking down recently again, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this spans across all the social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, I'm sure Instagram and all of those. I don't participate in that stuff, but they're hitting all the platforms. And they're hitting them hard. So let me run through my normal stuff real quick. Again, I've got that PragerU video here queued up for you guys to see. We'll play it. We'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. And then we'll do the headlines and get on with our normal shows. So anyway, let me get this window up here. Amazon Associate. We are at $11.01. I believe the same place we were yesterday. So I do show one more ordered item though. So that should probably update tomorrow. If not, sometime soon-ish. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that participates in that. For those that don't know, we have a link in the description of the video and at our homepage at thewatchmannews.com, Amazon affiliate link. That link just opens up Amazon, but it does so with our code. And so what happens is when you purchase an item after going through our link, it doesn't cost you anything more, but it credits us for the sale and throws a little bit our way. So it's like a win-win deal. It works out great. It's highly, highly appreciated. We also have an Amazon store. The link is in the description, as well as at thewatchmannews.com right there. And that is that takes you to our Amazon store. We got a bunch of different categories with a bunch of different items in those categories. Same deal. You buy an item out of our store, then it will give us credit for the sale. Throws a little bit our way. Doesn't cost you anything more. So If you don't shop Amazon and you would like to help us out, I think I keep forgetting to look, but I think the link is in the description as well as if you go to thewatchmannews.com. There's a donate button right there on our homepage, and if you click that, it will take you to our PayPal donation page. I'm tripping over my words here. And anyway, you don't have to have a PayPal account. You can just use a credit or a debit card, either way. And it will say Transforming Disabilities right there. That is us. It also says Purpose, the Watchman News donation right there. That way you know you're in the right place. So never required and always appreciated. All the money that we get goes towards prepping items, and then I in turn do reviews on those prepping items, and so far so good. We haven't had a bunch of junk items or anything, so we've been doing pretty good with that. And I still haven't got the video for the percolator out yet. I will. I will. I had to make a t-shirt today for Prepper Nurse 1, so that kind of took a little chunk of time out, so I didn't get that video made or put together and put out today. So anyway, I'll try again tomorrow on that. So anyway, never required, always appreciated when folks help us out, and I think we did that. Okay, let me get these windows closed here, and let me get that video switched back over, and we will play this video from PragerU. Okay, and this is from the PragerU channel, and it's simply titled PragerU versus YouTube. This will give you a lot of insight as to what's going on and why, and what what leg they have to stand on and whatnot. This is a pretty important video.
The most important lawsuit in America right now, and perhaps the free world, is Prager University versus YouTube. You might consider this a grandiose statement, especially since I'm the lead attorney for PragerU. I assure you, it's not. That's because this case is about the most fundamental freedom Americans have, freedom of speech, as enunciated in the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. All our freedoms, the very concept of freedom, springs from this right. Lose it, and we're no longer free, not as individuals and not as a nation. I'm not willing to accept that. PragerU doesn't accept that, and you shouldn't either. Okay, so how did we get into this situation? A little background. PragerU is what is called a 501c3, a nonprofit educational media company. It's known primarily for its 5-minute videos. In 2016, viewers began to notice that certain PragerU videos were no longer available. YouTube had placed them on its restricted list, which prevents the videos from playing on computers using content filters to screen out violence and pornography. PragerU assumed this was simply a case of bad algorithms, but YouTube said no. Each restricted video had been reviewed by a walking, talking human. The list included such diverse titles as Are the Police Racist? By Heather McDonald, Israel's Legal Founding by Alan Dershowitz, and even a video on the 10 Commandments by Dennis Prager. YouTube deemed each one unsuitable for young people, treating these videos the same as they would, say, for ones containing pornography or excessive violence. Keep in mind, this is PragerU we're talking about, as Main Street as you can get. And that ultimately turns out to be the issue. PragerU's center-right content, many of their videos, by the way, have no political theme at all, offends YouTube's sensibilities. In other words, the videos aren't being restricted to protect young people from inappropriate content. They're being restricted to protect young people from ideas YouTube disagrees with. We didn't want to sue. We tried to reach an accommodation. But when YouTube wouldn't take the offending videos off the restricted list, there are now 100 on that list, we had no other option. YouTube was infringing on our right to free speech. We filed in federal court in late 2017, and thereafter in California state court. Wait a second, you might say. YouTube, which is owned by Google, is a private company. Can't they do anything they want? The answer is yes and no. Yes, if they are a publisher. No, if they are a public forum. So what's the difference? This gets right to the nub of the matter. A publisher chooses the content that resides on its site. The New York Times is a perfect example. You can't write a story and just expect the New York Times to publish it. The Times chooses what appears on its pages or website. And if they publish a story that contains a malicious lie or violates copyright law, they can be sued. PragerU is also a publisher. It decides what material gets placed on its website. Most sites are publishers. In contrast, a public forum, which can be a physical location like the classic town square or a shopping mall, or a virtual location like a website, is a place that must allow individuals and organizations to exercise their free speech rights. YouTube is an example of a public forum. In fact, YouTube describes itself as a public forum. You make a video, YouTube hosts it, and anyone with an internet connection can watch it. Facebook is also a public forum, and so is Twitter. Here's why this is so important. A public forum under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, a law co-sponsored by Democrats and Republicans and passed by Congress in 1996, is not subject to liability for content placed on its site. If someone posts a video about how to build a bomb or writes a threatening comment, the public forum website cannot be held legally responsible for that content. That's a good thing. It gives YouTube and other public forums the chance to host a wide variety of material, from nature videos to political diatribes, without fear of being sued. And it worked. And then it didn't. A few years ago, the social media giants, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, started to behave not like public forums, but like publishers. They stopped following Section 230, which specifically requires that these websites promote a true diversity of political discourse, and began to judge content by their own political and social criteria. In other words, the social media giants want it both ways. They want the protections of a public forum and the editorial control of a publisher. We're fine if they're a publisher, and we're fine if they're a public forum. They just can't be both. If we win our legal action, YouTube will have to return to the way things were when they started. That's freedom. But if we lose, YouTube gets to act as a publisher while pretending to be a public forum. That would mean much less freedom, and then eventually, no freedom. Because the most powerful internet sites on earth will determine what you see and what you don't. I'm Eric George, Managing Partner, Brown George Ross, for Prager University.
So there you go. It's insane what is going on, and it's insane that they have been able to get away with it for so long and not be called out. Now, this is just my opinion. I don't know if this is the way it's going to go or not. Obviously, I don't. I don't have a time machine or a crystal ball. But I have a feeling that if they win this court case, if PragerU wins this court case, that YouTube is going to dry up and disappear. Now, I don't think this case is so much about money as what it is making them go back to the platform that they used to be. I don't see that happening. One thing that I look at is I look at numbers, namely money. And I think of the size of operation that YouTube would have to be. And it would have to be enormous. I mean, insane enormous. That's a lot of processing power doing that. That's a lot of servers. And I think about, and I can only guess on this, the type of ad revenue that they have coming in on their end. And then, of course, you have to think about the amount that they put out to the YouTube creators, which is what it's supposed to be, there for. And I think that's changed a bit as well. And the numbers don't add up. They don't add up. Folks, if you go and you rent a server, a web server, okay, you're going to pay a fortune. If you rent a dedicated server, I'm not talking about using a shared server like what we do. Our server costs us $55 a year. We actually pay $30 every 6 months. So that's a drop in the hat. But we did rent a dedicated server at one time, and it was 120, 130 or something like that a month. And believe me, it was on the low end of the totem pole. Okay, it wasn't a super fast, high-tech, brand new server computer. It wasn't the fastest internet connection and all of that good stuff. It was on the very low end. One server. So when you look at an operation the size that it would take to run something like YouTube, that's insane. And I realize, I'm sure YouTube cuts out the middleman and, has their own servers and all that. Nonetheless, it's a lot of money. That internet, that bandwidth alone would cost a fortune. So I think about those numbers, and I do not see how it's sustainable, especially, and this is a big factor, especially when so many companies are pulling back their ad revenue, what they're putting out for ads, which, by the way, is the real reason for YouTube trying to, demonetize videos and stuff like. They don't have the revenue coming in because a lot of companies have really cut what they put out for advertising because the economy sucks. Regardless of what your president tells you, regardless of, this, that, the other thing, the economy's hurt. Bad. And advertising is a huge portion of a lot of these companies' overhead. So they've cut that back. Therefore, less people paying YouTube to put their advertisements on people's videos. So when you take all of that into consideration, you have to ask the question, where is YouTube getting the extra funding that it needs to operate? I think it gets it from the government. I honest to God believe that much of the operating cost for YouTube and Facebook comes from the government. If that's correct, then I would say it's highly likely that a large portion of what actually comes in from ad revenue goes to the employees and the CEOs and all of that. So, when you break it all down, if they lose that funding, that extra funding from the government, because they're no longer able to guide which way social media goes, they're not going to have a choice but to go under. That's just how I see it. I could be wrong. I could be so far off course it's unreal. But I've put a fair amount of thought into this. And that's how the puzzle pieces fit together for me. But continue to see, to watch out for this push. You're gonna continue to see it happen. A huge push. Because they still, even with all the censorship, even with all the demonetization, the unranking videos, and putting videos on restricted lists, They still can't control the narrative. There are too many people out there talking. And that is what makes the internet a wonderful tool. A lot better things to do with the internet than learn what kind of potato you are. It's a wonderful tool to pass information. What was that poll that over 2/3 of the people didn't buy the official Epstein narrative? That speaks for itself. Now, if you didn't have social media, if you didn't have YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, these platforms where people could speak and say, that don't sound right, then all the information you would have would be what that television gives you. And that's what they are trying to get the internet down to, social media. They're trying to get it down to only what they want you to hear. Their narrative, their agenda. And that's why you're seeing a big push, because they're still losing in that. They're still losing that battle. And I think at some point, they're going to clamp down really, really, really hard. And or at some point, these social media platforms, for various reasons, are going to disappear. I often throw it out there just because it's, it's not something I don't think a whole lot of people think about. And when they do, I don't know if they really go deep into it, really go down that rabbit hole. But what would happen if you go to bed tonight and you wake up in the morning and social media is gone? YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What would happen if you woke up and all social media was gone for good? Not just an outage, gone. I guarantee you there would be chaos. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. You should read the stories of what happens when Facebook goes down. Phones at police departments light up all over the country. That's no joke. That is no joke. I honestly feel that there would be chaos if social media went down. Just completely down. I know for me personally it would be a big bummer. Now, I don't communicate a whole lot on social media. I share stuff out. On a personal level, I don't really do a whole lot. But it's nice to know that at the end of my fingertips, I have a lot of the people I went to school with. A lot of people that I've met over the years, mostly on the internet. And even though I don't talk to them on a normal basis or anything like that, it's nice to know that I can. Nice to know that I can. I don't have any other way to contact any of or most of those people. Probably 99% of those people. I don't have their email. I don't have their phone number. I don't have any other way to contact them. So if Facebook disappeared overnight and didn't come back, I don't know if I'd ever hook up with them again. And that's kind of freaky, to be honest. It truly is. It's just as freaky as the fact that most people don't really know a lot of phone numbers anymore because of smartphones. They click on a name. That's kind of freaky too. This is stuff I don't think a whole lot of people really sit down and think about. But we might want to. Could you imagine SHTF caused by social media going down? I could see it happening. I could certainly see it happening. Just keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. If you know platforms that you like listening to, like, say, High Impact Flicks or Us or Bear Independent or whatever, make sure you have their websites bookmarked. Please. Make sure you bookmark their websites. Now, with that in mind, give me just a moment here, and I am going to look through my email right here. Right here, right here. Okay. Let me bring this out and over. I want to show you something. Oh, I guess I missed. We'll try that again. There we go. So I couldn't tell you how many times that I've gotten this email now in the last, couple of months. At least 4 times. Let me have a sip of coffee. Public Domain Registry. Says I'm receiving this email because I am listed as the registrant for domain names registered through hostcare.com, for whom publicdomainregistry.com serves as the sponsoring registrar. Okay? As registrar on record for your domains, we are required per our contracts with ICANN. Do you remember that name from somewhere? ICANN? Yeah. And various TLD registries to have a domain registration agreement with you, i.e. the registrant. You can find the agreement here, which is in effect starting immediately. And I'll scroll here, and as you can see, this one here, and I've got this for every one of our websites, okay? When I tell you I've gotten this 4 times, I mean I've gotten it 4 times for each one of our websites, okay? So, and that's 4. So I've gotten at least 16 emails in the last couple of months. And as you can see, this one here is for the WatchmanNews.com. So, let's click here. And right here is your agreement. Okay? And, I've been doing website work for a long, long time. And I've never had this before. Never had this before. I have read all of this a couple of times over, just to make sure I understand what is going on. I'm going to break it down for you. All of this legal mumbo jumbo more or less says right here, it can be summed up. Domain, let's see. Okay, term. The term of this term and termination. The term of this registration agreement commences on the day you accept this registration agreement to the day until the occurrence of any of the following below. Collectively, termination. Your obligation to pay any fees or other amounts under this agreement which arose prior to expiration or other termination of this registration agreement shall survive as any expiration or termination. Okay, domain suspension, cancellation, or transfer. You acknowledge and agree that your domain registration is subject to suspension, cancellation, or transfer, referred to as cancellation, to correct any mistakes by the company, another registrar, or a registry administrator in administering the domain name, or for the resolution of disputes concerning the domain pursuant to an ICANN policy or procedure. Are you following me here? It is your responsibility to verify if any domain is infringing anyone else's rights prior to registration. If the domain name you have registered is found to be infringing on another person's rights, determined in the company's discretion, the company has the right to cancel your registration immediately. If you are in willful violation of our agreement, you will not be entitled to any refund. You also agree that the company shall have the right in its sole discretion to suspend, cancel, transfer, or otherwise modify a domain registration upon up to 7 calendar days prior notice or after such time as the company receives a properly authenticated order from a court of competent jurisdiction or arbitration award requiring the suspension, cancellation, transfer, or modification of the domain registration. I hope you're following this. Termination. I'll cover termination and we'll be good there, right? The company reserves the right to suspend, cancel, transfer, or modify your domain registration if A, you materially breach this registration agreement, including the dispute policy, and do not cure such breach within 10 days of notice by the company. B, you use the domain to send unsolicited email in violation of this registration agreement or applicable laws. C, you use your domain in connection with unlawful activity. Or D, you otherwise violate this registration agreement as determined by the company in its sole discretion. We will not be responsible or liable for any costs associated with the termination of your rights to the domain name. So basically, let me just break this down for you. ICANN can make up any rules they want. If we violate those rules in any way, they can terminate our domain. Now, did I not warn about that when this whole ICANN thing became a thing? Did I not say that's exactly what they were going to do? So I'm going to say this again, but I needed you to know about this. If there is a platform like us, High Impact Flicks, Bear Independent, We Are Change, whoever, if there is a platform that you want to stay connected with, bookmark their website. But understand that literally at the flip of a switch, they can shut us all off. You're looking at it right in front of your face. I warned about this, I know, at least over a year ago, years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It's been several years I've been warning about this. I'd have to look at when ICANN took over. It's been years. And before they even took over, when I started to hear about what the plans were for them to take over, I immediately knew what they were up to. Centralization is never a good thing, and that's what they were doing. They were centralizing the internet, domain propagation. They were centralizing it. And guess who in reality is in control of it? United Nations. That's right. Bookmark the platforms that you like. But understand that even their website can be turned off overnight. All I can do is bring you this information, help you be aware of it. It's the most I can do at this point. I am trying to find ways to circumvent this. I got a couple of ideas. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, what's going on with censorship, where we stand, and obviously where we don't stand. Crazy. It's crazy. Okay, let me close these windows out here and let's do some headlines. Starting out from stuff I shared last night, sowing discord again, Twitter wades into Hong Kong protest with hunt for Chinese bots. U.S. tells Greece any help to Iranian tanker may be terrorism support. Twitter bans state media from advertising, and guess who decides how they are defined? Facebook tells Trump ads can't appeal to strong women like you, caving in to ex-Clinton staffer. See what social media is doing? Trump vows not to build giant tower in Greenland once he buys it. Question mark. This is stupid. Really, truly is. I mean, how pompous do you have to be like, you know, I'm going to buy your country. Even if you say you're not going to sell it. I'm going to buy it. But don't worry. I'm not going to put one of my big towers there. Ridiculous. Okay, this story we're gonna go into here. This is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Sharing memes, man ends up red flagged. Let's see. Story goes as this. How many of us have a dark sense of humor? One Connecticut man, Brandon Wagshaw, was red flagged after he shared a Boogaloo meme and talked about buying gun parts online from out of state. Someone viewed it as threatening. Wagshaw's sharing of memes and talk of purchasing gun parts without making any threats, by the way, got the attention of someone who reported him to police. He is now under arrest on a $250,000 bond that can only be posted after his hearing on September 6th. Let's see. Right here, a quote is, quote unquote, what I understand is that he didn't make any comments on Facebook, but there may have been other memes, as they call them, that he might have reposted, says attorney Darnell Crosland. The article said his posts were alarming. He shared a Boogaloo meme. Those of you that don't know what those are, those of you who don't know what those are, understand that they are extremely dark in their humor. He denies any desire to commit a mass shooting. Folks, most of us share this stuff out all the time. Most of the time it's a joke. Anyway, here's a meme here. The alphabet boys bust in through your door thinking you just have a few coat hanger sears, so you play along before breaking out the belt-fed Boogaloo toys. That's it. That is it, right? Another quote here, explaining things. Boogaloo, a slang term for shit hits the fan or government gone bad and they're coming for you. Time to fight back. Boogaloo toys refer to guns, the opposite of bugging out, okay? Alphabet boys would be your three-letter agencies. Coat hanger sears would be handcrafted drop-in auto sears for an AR. See, I didn't even know what that was. Let's see. According to News 12 Connecticut, they said FBI investigators say the Norwalk Police Department received a tip about Wagshaw's activity from a concerned citizen. The joint investigation began after the FBI received a tip that Wagshaw was trying to buy high-capacity magazines from out of state. Police say all the weapons recovered from the home are legally owned and registered to Wagshaw's father, but that the 22-year-old had access to them. You hear that? So they were in the house, and he could have gotten to them, right? It's not saying that they were in his room or anything like that. They could have been in a father's bedroom. He could have knew where the safe key was, if there was a safe or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If he in any way had access to those guns, that's all. They were his father's guns. He's charged with his father's guns. Investigators also recovered body armor with a titanium plate. Ooh, a camouflage shirt. Man, that's getting real right there. Pants and belt. Dude, anybody that has pants and a belt is up to no good. Come on now. Level with me. Ballistic helmet, tactical gloves. Now, see, right there. That implies intent. If there were gloves, it implies intent. A camouflage bag, right? Because we all know that if you're not tactical, then all bags should be hot pink, right? And computers. Oh my God. Who in their right mind would have a computer in their home? Oh my God, I hope they lock him up for good. Wagshaw has been banned from the campus of the college he was attending. The media is calling this a mass murder plot foiled, but was it really? A Boogaloo meme is not about mass murder. It's about defending yourself from the government. While Wagshaw obviously made mistakes and really did not do everything correct, there is a worry about those tips from concerned citizens and the sharing of memes, especially regarding U.S. military veterans who often own items exactly like the ones police confiscated from Wagshaw, and they love to share memes on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Instagram has blacklisted any reference to the word Boogaloo. Big Tech appears to feel that such memes are dangerous and need to be banned. Are you getting it yet? Camouflage shirt, pants and belt, tactical gloves, camouflage bag. How many of you have a camouflage shirt? How many of you have pants and a belt? Tactical gloves? How about mechanics gloves? How about a camouflage or camouflage-ish bag? You know, olive drab, black. Crazy. It's crazy. Trump dismisses recession fears, says U.S. consumers are loaded up with money. Yeah, I guess we fell through the cracks. Right? A big damn crack, I'll tell you that. I think the president's smoking crack. That's what I think's going on. A boom time for the bunker business and doomsday capitalist. An article about, a big demand now for doomsday bunker type of things. I hate calling them doomsday bunkers, but whatever. Prepping is on the rise. It's a pretty good article about that. Huawei expects no relief. Huawei expects no relief from U.S. sanctions, but is confident. Don't remember what this headline is. I guess we have to click on it to see, right? Oh, yeah. Bill would withhold pay from President and Congress during government shutdowns. Yeah, somebody's trying to pass a bill that would do that. I say right on. One possible conclusion, U.S. banned missile test apparently in works long before leaving INF. Surprise, surprise. Residents spring into action as dozens of mattresses fly away in Colorado storm. I know, right? Okay. All right. I had to know too. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I had to know too. It's actually a quite impressive display here. Actually the air mattress Olympics. No, they were having some type of what is it? They were like gonna watch a movie or something, having something going on. I forget exactly. They called it a outdoor cinema event is what they called it. They were gonna watch a movie outside. That's why there were a million air mattresses just sitting outside. So I guess a storm blew up, and the mattresses decided to take a little trip. Let's see. We don't fall for provocations. Moscow won't jump the gun after U.S. missile test, says Deputy Foreign Minister. Huawei blasts U.S. move to expand blacklist of its affiliates as politically motivated. Jeffrey Epstein signed will 2 days before his death, leaving behind nearly $600 million trust. Nah, there's not nothing suspicious about that whatsoever. Conspiracy theorist. Brazil bus hijacker shot dead by police sniper, hostages released. A global economy suffers from high debt with U.S. in worst shape, says Peter Schiff. China accuses Twitter and Facebook of censorship over Hong Kong protest criticism. Mercedes caught spying on drivers with secret tracking devices. Wow, you can't even pay that much money to get out of the technocrats, what do you call it? Whatever the hell it is. It's insane. Hong Kong's days as global financial hub may be numbered, says Jim Rogers. Going for gold, Russia boosts bullion stockpile by 9 tons in July. You know what? I'd be happy with just one of those ingots. Just one. Just one. Right? Please? Mr. Putin? Robot Lives Matter. YouTube removing robot fight videos for animal cruelty because, well, they learned that the robots identified as dogs and cats, I guess. Really? Out of control. Deeper underground. Alien hunting Mars rover set to drill for signs of life. There can only be one. Bolton accuses China of bullying in South China Sea. All cops are boneless. UK government's knife-free chicken boxes ridiculed by crowd-funded alternative. Trump says he could support Russia's return to G8. Trump says Fed needs to be proactive and cut interest rates. Let's see. Emergency and Music Fest prepared in rural Nevada 1 month out from Storm Area 51. So I guess that people are still talking about this. I know it's been really suppressed, as far as discussion and groups and whatnot. So, but I guess it's still a thing. I guess it's still on. Facebook hiring editors to pick stories for News tab that didn't work out well last time. After INF treaty withdrawal, U.S. looking to develop hypersonic missiles, says the Army Secretary. You know how many times I've heard people say, oh, well, the U.S. has got hypersonic missiles? No, we don't. No. Shake the head left and right. No, we don't. We don't have them. We don't. China, Russia, they have them. Us? No, we don't. I would say we're pretty screwed. Why the hell are we poking the bear and the dragon? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. But you get a lot of people in this country that will sit there and try to tell you, oh yeah, we got that. Yeah, we got that. I don't know where the hell they get their information from. But I keep trying to tell them we don't. No hypersonic missiles. We don't have any stealth aircraft that will outdo the Russian S-400 and S-500 systems. Yikes. Right? We don't. Period. We don't have a radar system that can pick up the latest of Chinese and Russian aircraft. Yikes. Man, we had 4 administrations, all right? Do the math. 4 administrations. That's 32 years. 32 years. Our military technology has slid, while these other countries were working their asses off on it. 32 years. I'm not surprised. Run, hide, or fight. Louisiana State University warns of armed intruder in a tweet. So we are going to open that up just real quick and spend a second and see what is going on there. There is an armed intruder on the Louisiana State University's campus. Its Twitter account has warned, telling students to run, hide, or fight. It remains unclear whether anyone has been injured. The university first warned about an active shooter on Tuesday afternoon and soon followed up its initial tweet with advice to run, exit the area and move away from danger, hide if escape is not possible, find a safe area to hide, and fight. This is an absolute last resort. A professor working in the graduate school on LSU's grounds tweeted that he had been waiting out an active intruder on LSU's campus for about the last 50 minutes, adding, "We are locked down and just waiting." One of the cleaning staff saw someone with a pistol. LSU professor Dr. Edward Gibbons told local outlet The Advocate, saying he's not aware if the gunman has been found. So that's all I've got at this time for you on that. So we'll try to keep an eye and ear open for any more information. Anyway, that is the headlines. Let me go ahead and get the monologue closed up, and we will continue on with the rest of the show. If you're here for the live show, don't go anywhere, don't do anything. We'll be live until 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For those just watching the monologue or the recording thereof, thank you very much. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit.